smallest little thread can actually get us tangled up, bound up to the degree that we can't get free. But now I want to show you this. Here's what happened. Put it together again, and we're just going to wrap it again. And this time it's the same thread. But his symptoms, his tactics are very, very subtle, very, very subtle, where he just keeps on wrapping around. And he'll let you go on in life doing things. And he's still talking, oh, your hair is very nice. He said, what kind of car do you drive? Where do you live? How do you like your school? And he's just going on with little things, very, very subtle. Can I see you tomorrow night? And it's just subtle, and he's continually taking something that seems so innocent. I mean, it's so easy that when you get just a little bit of it, it's no problem whatsoever. Now I've been around here about few times, and each time that I'm going, even though this is about the thickness of a spider web, you would wonder whether anything that is so weak, so delicate, could actually tie our hands and affect our works. He's going after the works of us, and that's why the mark of the beast wants to mark our hand. It's either on the hand or on the forehead, because it affects what you do and how you think. If he can get you to think his thoughts, he can get you to do his deeds. If he can influence the work of your hands, or if you're already busy doing the work of the kingdom, you see, he really wants to target you. He really wants to come after you. And let me just tell you, when the devil comes out, let me just, while I'm still just being real subtle here, let me just do some teaching. Can you still take notes while I'm teaching? There are some things that if you really want to be able to control what the devil is doing in your life, you have to be aware of when he attacks you. May I tell you that he will come to you whenever you are, first of all, too hungry. It's dangerous to get hungry. I don't care whether you're hungry for food or hungry for love. If you ever get too hungry for things, you are prime meat for the devil. If you ever get too hungry, the devil will come after hungry folks. And may I tell you that if you're hungry, you become irritable, so he can use you real good when you get hungry. I mean, I've been that way myself. If I get too hungry, it makes me a little irritable. So always watch yourself whenever you get too hungry. Secondly, watch yourself whenever you get too angry. Because anger is nothing but the devil, it's danger. It's without the devil's initial in front of it. Anger, danger, anger. And you have to always watch yourself. If you ever get mad, the devil can start doing some crazy things against you. If you ever just get too mad, you get too hungry, you get too angry, and the devil can use you. You'd be surprised of the things of regret that come into the lives of people who get too angry. Thirdly, if you get too lonely. Oh my goodness. I mean, if you ever get in a position where you're too lonely, the devil can really start having a field day with you. He starts talking to you. Your mind gets all messed up and bent out of shape. All kind of crazy thoughts and imaginations can come to you if you ever get too lonely. And then the fourth thing, the devil comes to you whenever you get too tired. Too tired. If you ever get too tired, you don't lean toward the solution, you lean toward the problem. Whenever you get too tired, you don't stand in faith, you lean toward fear. If you ever get too tired, when you'll notice each one of those things, it begins to teach us how to halt the devil, H-A-L-T. Too hungry, too angry, too lonely, too tired. If you ever want to learn how to halt him, how to stop him dead in his tracks, you got to watch yourself. Make sure that you don't get too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired. Now, all of us get hungry. All of us get angry. All of us get lonely. And all of us get tired. But the key is when it's pushed into an extremity. That's when the devil begins to get us. You see, he says, let your moderation be known unto all men. And when it gets too hungry, then you're in danger, because then he can begin to tempt you and say, turn these stones into bread, and begin to tempt you to do something that is against the very nature of God. If you get too angry, then he'll say, hit them, cuss them out. Go on, lay your religion down. Now, as you notice, see, the devil can just be talking just holding conversation got you feeling real good, and you're not even aware. You think you're getting a massage. And little do you know is that you're being bound up. Now try to break out. Oh, I got him tied. He's hog tied now. And he can't break out. And it's the same thread. But see, little by little, layer by layer, day by day, thought by thought, every time that he keeps whispering in your ear, "You gonna call me?" It's just another layer coming around, and it's binding you up. That's all over again. Come on, take another sip. Hey, you want to hit this again? It's just another layer, and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And see, it's so tight now that he can't even break out of it. It doesn't have the strength to break out of it. And he doesn't realize when it got too hard for him to break out. Because we think that I can handle it. I got this. I'm going to be in control. You don't really realize when your emotions lose control. Are you listening? And the next thing that you know, you'll be wrapped up, tied up, and tangled up in something that has become a demonic thing because it was really used to halt you, to stop you dead in your tracks, to stop your effectiveness, to mar your witnesses. And then it takes at that point something that is sharper than any two-edged sword. And Jesus, our great deliverer, can just simply come and thank you. But it's where you got to be delivered out. He's got to cut some things loose, and it's got to be something that is sharper than any two-edged sword. And isn't it something how we can struggle trying to break free from things that it simply takes something sharp to cut us out of? Because the deliverance that we often need is just something that can be quick and sharp. Now let me advise you on this. Do not, please make a note of this, do not take enemy attacks personally. Do not take enemy attacks personally. Because you see, many of us, we live with the attitude that, I don't hurt anybody. I mind my own business. I don't mess with nobody. I did nothing to provoke this. He doesn't care anything about that. Let me tell you this, Satan is irrational. He's totally irrational. Have you ever tried to reason with the devil? I mean, those of you that live with one. You ever tried to reason with him? Satan, the devil, is totally irrational. He'll say things, he'll do things, and it doesn't make any sense at all. And you can't get through to them. They simply cannot even see the truth. You're walking in the light, and you can see it, and you're trying to get something and show them in the Word, and they can't see it. You know why? Because it's like trying to show a blind person something, and then you turn on brighter lights. But the problem is not that there's not sufficient light. The problem is that they're blind. Their eyes are blind. And so they can't really see it. So Satan is totally irrational. But let me share with you some of the reasons why we have enemies. I want you to understand why we have enemies. Why we have enemies. You don't always understand why we have it because, you can think in your own mind, I didn't do anything to anybody. I was just minding my own business. I try to keep to myself. I go in, I do my 8 hours, and I come out of there, and I don't try to start nothing with nobody, And this is the attitude, and yet we come under attack. And it's like, well, what in the world did I do to bring this on? You didn't have to do anything to precipitate the attack. Remember when they sow the field and then they realized the weeds come up, and then they said, an enemy hath done this, that while men slept, an enemy hath done this? You didn't have to do anything. You could have been sowing good seed trying to help people, and all of a sudden, while you were busy serving, something was working a demonic work, and you wonder, what did I do to deserve this coming up in my life? And God, as soon as I tried to do this, and that I was working on something good, all hell broke loose in this other area of my life. And we don't understand the nature of the attack. What did I do to cause this, to precipitate this particular attack in my life? We don't understand it. And he is not going to just leave you just because you start trying to use some big words. It takes more than just words to get the devil off of your back. But let me